Hello and welcome to Spicy Samosas. I'm your host Gavin, and today I'll be joined by some of our young company members who are going to be taking on the Spicy Samosa Sauce Challenge. Today I am joined with two of our young company. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Usmaan.
And my name is Steph.
Today we have some samosas here for you, and we also have varying levels of spice. All right, varying levels of spicy condiments, sauces. Here's the light one. It's called awesome sauce.
Okay. Awesome sauce. Yeah.
You're going to take a samosa, I'm going to ask you a question, and then we're just going to feel it out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to take samosa now?
Please.
Yeah.
I'm joining in.
Yeah.
Oh, no, my eyes have been locked on this for a second. Are we dipping it first yet?
Let's dip it in.
How big of a dip we doing? Go for it. Let's let you say it.
I'm saying
Okay.
healthy dip.
Okay.
Healthy dip.
Oh, you went for it. I thought we were going to
you've
do a
got
3, 2, 1.
Hey, you
Okay.
start.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm hungry, guys. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Light.
That's cool.
Level 1.
First question.
That's cool, man.
This is not good for audio. What's it like being a part of the Tara Theatre Young Company?
I want to start by saying it's fun.
Yeah.
Very, very fun. It's very inclusive as well. I feel like everybody within the group, we all get on well. We're all very courteous of each other. Things that we don't like, things that we're not comfortable with, are comfortable with. And overall, it's been a fantastic experience so far.
Yeah.
The world's just
Yeah. I would say it's a whole group of people from various different backgrounds, of course, but also different avenues into getting here. Some of us classically trained, some of us have an interest, working with people our age. Some people are not pursuing the acting, they're the writers and they're the directors and tech team. So it's very interesting to work in a team with those people. I've quite used to working just with straight actors my age, so it's it's exciting, very exciting.
If I had to ask you, like, what's been one of your highlights so far, what would you say?
God, I'm going to say, I think you might say the same thing, but it was that Mateus workshop.
yeah.
Mateus,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, was a movement director, I would say, movement director, and he came in and he kicked our ass.
Yeah.
It was. We were trying out new things that we hadn't done in the workshops prior, but we saw this workshop and he was like, "No, I'm going to treat you like professionals, and we're gonna go for it. We're going to absolutely go for it."
And that was him being tame.
Yeah,
That was his tame version of
yeah.
that workshop.
I can tell you this for free. So, I've known Mateus from before because I previously worked with him. That was intense from when I first met him. So when I came in that day and I saw in the email Mateus was going to be there, I smiled instantly. I was like, you know what?
We both came in shorts.
I remember I was like, yeah, let me bring the shorts. Let me bring the shorts. Everyone's like, why are you wearing shorts?
Yeah.
When we started doing what we were doing, by the end of the session, everyone was like, I understand why you
But
wear shorts.
I think what was so brilliant about him is that how quickly we devised something so quickly, like
Yeah.
without even realizing necessarily what we were doing. It kind of felt just like a movement activity. So for the audience at home, what we were doing was it was like a small repeatable task, wasn't it? It was like that you could hyper focus on.
Yeah.
Small, repeatable, simple, everyday detail. And then he added the stakes to it. He added the stakes to it, to the moving quicker. And then we did what was it? A headache, stomach thing. Do you remember? And then we had everyone joint together, and suddenly we saw like a piece emerging. So simply.
Sorry to cut you,
No.
but even within the warm-up, for example, like, you would think if you was to walk in the room, and once again, so people at home, if you was to walk in the space and see how we warm up, you'd think we were warming up for gym. Because the way we were doing high knees, like you think we were warming up for like a track event or something. Even the way we're treading when you're like this and you're like in that kind of position, it's intense, it's crazy, but it's really enjoyable in the process because you get to learn as you're doing it, to where I might take some of these warm-ups and go to the gym and say, "No."
Yeah, there was a lot of anxiety, I think, also before we stepped in, because some people are like, movement, what the hell is that me going to be prancing around? But it didn't feel like dance in a certain way. I think it was a really accessible way of getting into something that we don't all have experience with.
It didn't feel like something you couldn't learn. Because there could be times where, not with Mateus, but with other directors that I've had or other movement directors I've had, where I've really struggled to learn the movements because they wasn't making it clear, or they wasn't taking time to really go through it. But with Mateus, he took the time to really go through it, everybody.
He's someone who cares about detail a lot.
100% pays much attention to detail.
Seeing that and everyone getting it wrong and him just being on you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay.
But he
Like,
makes it entertaining too.
yeah.
He lit up the room.
No,
that was a highlight, man. That was a highlight.
And we're going to have plenty more of him in the rehearsal room, so that's going to be
I'm
a
ready.
joy.
I'm ready, Mateus. Don't worry.
So, verdict on this sauce. What are we saying?
Light.
Light.
Light. Come on, bring it up.
I mean,
Cool.
I finished the samosa, so definitely.
Oh wow, someone's hungry.
I'm starving, bro.
Awesome sauce. We're going to give it a light.
Yeah, I say light.
Sweet. We have our second sauce out, and it's called Hot Breath.
Nice.
Let's take
Strong.
it here. Take it here.
Go for it.
It's the hot breath. All right.
Hot breath. At least it don't stink.
Smells sweet.
Is it
Yeah,
mango?
it smells
It looks
like
a bit
mango
fruity.
habanero a little bit.
Mmm.
Light.
Yummy.
Yes,
Yummy.
Light.
Regular, man.
So our second question, right? Making a play from scratch. Is it a vibe? How is it? How's it been?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100% of that.
Yeah, to have autonomy over your character, which is such a rare thing to do, and but still being held by a writer and a director. I think sometimes when it's like entirely actor led, there might be a weird hierarchy of like my idea. But the fact that we had our workshops and our homeworks where it's like we provide this, enriching for our character, and then we've had a puppeteer able to manage and organize everyone's roles into a cohesive story. It's just like quite a beautiful collaboration between the two.
Honestly, I think it's been a vibe, definitely. And I will say, I think the way we've done it here, it's allowed everyone's ideas to be incorporated within the piece. Whether the people are on stage or not, there's always some kind of idea that's come from someone, and within the characters as well. Sorry, what I found really interesting with the characters is we devised the characters also, and you can see within the interactions where different people had their little intricacies within that character.
Right.
I won't say anything about the characters, I don't want to ruin anything, but I would definitely say I've enjoyed that part the most.
I think also having the ability that we could have started something with one idea that came to us naturally, but it could be a completely 180 if we wanted by the next session.
Yeah,
but
literally.
it didn't take away the value of finding that process in the start. It gave us little hints and we can spread off and that way. So it's just been a really fun process.
Something interesting about what you guys both said about having that autonomy of your characters. Did you feel like you had autonomy in where the story was going?
To be honest, when I think my technique was when I wrote my character was you give as much as you can that's a bit nuts, and then it gets stripped back. So in my character, my version of being the hero, there's like it would be a whole series and a whole arc. So you can give like a flavour of how you think you want it to go. We don't have control, of course, and we have the limitations of it. A young company, a 1 hour show, this space. So I don't think we could direct where it was going, but we could see somewhat how our characters would react in those given situations, given circumstances.
There's something within that balance, because we had such a short space of time to create a show,
100%.
and so there was at the initial stages like, let's provide you autonomy in this area, but here we need to have an idea and a structure at least, and then we can just fill those characters into that structure. So that felt a really nice and neat way where we were both collaborating with each other. How did it feel for you as well?
Do you know what's crazy? I don't think I really thought about it as much. I think when it came to developing the character, I kind of thought, okay, especially with what goes on in my mind is crazy sometimes, but I just kind of thought, let's come up with a character, and especially with the workshops we were doing, I had an idea of what I wanted to do from those workshops with the different exercises we were given anyway, plus the homework. So let me come up with a character, give him an entire backstory, and just hand him in and see what happens. That was my main thing. I kind of said, going into this young people's program, whatever we decide to do, I said, I'm just going to go full on blank and just try with whatever I can try with. So I can honestly say I didn't really think about it as much.
All right, I'm going to give you guys a question.
Cool.
Describe your individual characters in the show in 3 words.
I'm going to use the word caring. I'm going to try my best to describe it without using anything in the piece, but I think my character is a very caring individual because he thinks very much about consequences. He thinks very much about consequences. He thinks very much about how it's going to impact his life within that space. For example, his character he has a lot of people to take care of, should I say, in his private life. Maybe one day I'll give a backstory on the whole character, but he's got a lot of people to take care of, so he knows he has to be in a position to where he has to be the head of the table. He has to be like the tribal chief in that situation. So I definitely will say caring. And second one, I'm going to say intentional. And I think he's very intentional, which kind of links to the caring point, because he knows who he has to be there for and what he has to do to get his life on track, especially with the backstory that I know. It's something to where if you don't act with intention, then you're not going to get to where you want to get to, or it can blow up in your face. And the third word, I was going to use a word originally, but this one, that's a caring, intentional, and I'm going to say strategic. And the reason why I say English, stay strategic, is because the character is very much someone that likes to think things out in every way possible. Who likes to very much have things down to a T, have a plan. Nothing is executed without a plan, which kind of could be a value for life in general. If you don't have a plan, it's going to be a lot harder to do things. If you just run in head first, you might fall and bump your head. Of course, you're going to get back up if you really want to do this. But if you write things out and you're like, okay, this is your role, this is your role, this is your role. Kind of like what we've done within this space here. You can see how it really works. So I definitely go with those two: caring, intentional, and strategic.
I'm gonna go with.
Sorry to cut you, by the way. This sauce is actually really nice.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I'm getting tempted to just
hot breath.
I'm gonna go with purpose, radical, brotherhood. That's the three that I'm gonna go for. I think they have a connection to it, but with my character, something that I'm still discovering in the process is, why do they care? Like, why are they even here fighting for this cause? And again, not to give away too much of the story or my character, but he doesn't have a lot. He doesn't have many successes in his life. However, he's still showing up, trying to make a difference, or trying to make there's something that wakes him up in the morning. And I think that is really strong for your character, or strong for you as a person, to have something that motivates you. So I think having a purpose, a line that I was making up with Nicole, I don't know if it's going to be in the final script or not. We'll see. But I was like, essentially, it's like I have this argument with my brother, and I say, I have nothing, but at least I have a purpose. I have something to wake up for, and I just think that is kind of at the root of my character. And then with the brotherhood, and finding your community, finding your tribe. Something that brought up in discussion was about apathy. And how far you could go for your cause. And we were talking about historical references of real life movers, and as well as in stories and literature. And in those debates, it was, I think, me as myself and as my character was going towards, not the eco-terrorism level myself, but in terms of like, you have to do something to make that change. I so strongly believe that. I'm glad that I'm finding the words in the character. It's you need to do something, but you don't know how you would do it. And I started doing research into the Earth Federation League, the Defense League, and watching documentaries. Eco-terrorism was a concept I had no clue about. You think about like radical eco-environmentalists, and you think of Just Stop Oil or Extinction Rebellion, but there was people like way back when that were
doing what?
On the front line, putting themselves at risk. And I thought, they made a difference. So yeah,
100%. An insight into the character's mind. Sweet. So what are we saying? Hot breath.
Nice. Night. I think
nice.
Light, but nice.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. It's light and it's gonna sound crazy, but it tastes good.
Yeah. We are here with our third sauce, and it's called Devil's Far.
Nice.
Far. Okay.
That might be what we're doing later.
Cool. Shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's get it.
Go for it.
Get a healthy little dip. Even looks like a devil's one with the triangle.
You got that?
Oh, okay.
Right.
It's kind of barbecue.
Okay. What's been your biggest win so far on this journey, and what's been your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge is trusting myself. One thing about me is I've been performing for a while, but I think a lot of performers have this. It's a case of trusting yourself and trusting your abilities. I think when it comes to devising, I know how to devise and acting, and I have a bunch of ideas, but my execution of my ideas hasn't always been the strongest. So I think coming into the young people space, being able to say, okay, Steph, you know what? You have an idea, and you know you're going to have support with the idea, whether it's through yourself or Nick or with the rest of the guys. You have to trust yourself in believing it's good enough, and you have to tell yourself, look, there's always going to be things that can be changed and can be tweaked. It's not to say that the idea was bad if it was tweaked. It's just you have to then believe in yourself enough to be like, you know what, this is the character you want to bring to life, this is what you want to put in play, go and do that, and believe that it's going to be good. So I said that was my biggest challenge. And then the other thing you said was the biggest win. Wow. Biggest win, this is actually kind of away from acting. This is kind of more to do with the location of the place.
I love it.
So I grew up in Urswold, in the area. I'm from here, if I talk about where I grew up. To be able to perform, and I've seen Tara Theatre for years. Like I remember when this place was briefly before it got built. To be able to perform in the area that I grew up in, it feels really nice because for the longest time I've been saying, if I look at boroughs like Brent or like Lambeth, for example, they got all these creative hubs, and I just think Wandsworth hasn't really got that. So then once I saw this opportunity and I remembered, I was like, Tara Theatre, I was like, that's literally right around the corner. Now that I know I'm able to perform here, I'm like, yeah, I'm performing at home. So I feel good. I'd say that's my biggest win so far.
Love that. Usmaan?
Thank you.
I'd say my biggest win was trying to learn to like relax throughout the process in the workshops. Not the idea of like you can fall on your face because you're trying something that you've never done before, or like out of your comfort zone, and it's fine. You get such a limited amount of time in the workshop, or you're working in groups, whatever it might be, and you might be like, this isn't good enough. It doesn't matter. It means that you're just working as a team, spitballing ideas, and you're building upon that. Like I think before I might have had an issue with trying to being a perfectionist, or I was like, you know what, it's about the process. It's not just about the finished piece. I think working with different creators and hearing how excited they are about their ideas, and you go, you know what, I'm gonna drop the idea that is going to be a vision in my brain, and we're going to pick yours up and we're going to talk about it. And it might not be a finalized piece, but at least it was something that we didn't expect. I didn't have the expectation of it. I think that was a challenge and something beautiful that we won at the end. And also, I mean, a massive win is that I've to tell you the truth, I didn't know about this place. Completely, like Steph, I'm like from 2 hours away, no clue about it. And then the more I've researched and found out what's going on, I was like, wow, fucking shame that I didn't know about it. And I hope to establish a relationship and continue to see shows here and do things here, because it's so important. You know, we're doing something that matters, and from our community as well, which we, you know, might not necessarily see dominating the theatre scene, but we got you build your way up, and it's about that. So I'm very, very thankful.
Well, you got plenty more opportunities to come see shows. Season launch just happened. Yeah?
Plug it. Link here.
We want to see you, you know.
That's what we're saying. Devil's Fart.
Yeah.
It's light.
Light. Everything's light. It's sweet, a bit light.
Yeah, it's fast.
Which did you prefer, the number 2 or number 3?
In terms of what, like the heat or the flavour?
No, which would you choose?
I'd probably say number 2.
Yeah, I'll go with
I
number 2.
agree.
The number two sauce tasted more like a mango habanero.
That's what I was thinking.
But without the spice.
A bit fruity.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Come on.
actually.
Our next sauce number 4, and it's called jalapeno. No, I don't want anymore.
Jalapeno, I don't want anymore.
If only that was true.
I was going to say I probably will, but let's see what happens.
I apologise. That wasn't my best name. Cool. Do you want to grab one?
Let's do it. You know, I'll let one of you guys dip first this time. I feel like I've dipped first quite a lot.
I'm going to go with the other corner. I haven't finished the one from before. Okay.
Yeah, is this a sauce or is this like pickled?
I think it could be a pickle.
Jalapeno chunks.
And
oh, bloody hell.
I don't even know if it has jalapeno in it.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay.
It's fine. Okay. Let me grab one. Do it. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me not put much in it.
Familiar.
Yeah?
Oh my god.
Get a shot of that.
Trust it to be me to drop it in the water.
Now drink it.
I'll do it after. I'll fully do it after. Don't play.
Right, it's giving me something. There we go. That's spice.
It's a bit. It's a little tingle.
It's a tingle. It's a spice. There we go. I think it's starting now.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, what do you think is the biggest barrier to climate activism right now? And are there similar barriers to theatre?
I think when we started this process, we started talking about the environment, that kind of thing. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't something that we were like particularly. I would say it wasn't something that we were particularly interested in. It's something that I think we've gained interest in throughout the process. But when you think of the environment, that you see a lot of. I think because of the way it's been targeted, it's mocked a lot. It's like you're sort of a vegan. It's a vegan issue, and it's this, that, and the other, and it's like just stop oil people, throwing soup cans at paintings. It's not like actually a massive problem, and it's like a shared, united problem because it's our world together. So I think it was about challenging the perception of caring about that in a way, and taking and not seeing it in that mocking tone or in a lesser.
Honestly, I also think, to add to that as well, I think it wasn't given a lot of respect. Because even for me, I can say personally, have I always been interested in it? Not particularly, but as I've grown over this time period, I'm starting to actually go and study more and learn more about it. So I think I had to really tap into the mindset of those who do really care about climate change and really do care about making a difference. Does it have the same kind of thing to fit us? Sometimes I say, yeah, it does. Especially in terms of like, sorry to cut you down. No. I remember in the room we mentioned the powers that be. I think in theatre, especially for like Black and Asian communities, the powers that be come into play a lot. And it's the same for that climate. I think things can be done, but I do have this belief that ultimately it comes down to those who actually can make the difference, whether they want to or whether they want to actually invest within that. Same thing with it. I think it's a thing of we're doing more, we're kicking down a lot more doors. But it always does feel as if no matter how many doors we kick down, there's always that someone that's behind the ultimate door and he's like, nah. So I kind of say it has its similarities.
Would you agree with that, Usmaan, as well?
Yeah, I was thinking the most interesting theatre is something that's got something to say and it's commenting on something that's happening outside your door, where the audience can relate to it, and maybe in terms of those challenges that we face, it's showing that to an audience in a way that they don't expect it, or showing them or something that they're like, okay, it's about, the show might be about this topic or this topic. They might have come with a perception and it completely shifts by the end, or they open. It's also, the show isn't one-sided. We're not just saying this is right, this is wrong. There has to be some question and nuance and some, grey areas, and because if life was as simple as black and white, well, it would be clear cut,
It would also be a bit boring, if I'm honest.
Yeah, so I mean, in the workshop when we were doing those processes where we were like debating and doing the kind of Jubilee line thing, I thought that's what sparked so much interesting conversation, because you think everyone thinks the same way as you. You're a sort of left-leaning artist, activist, whatever it might be, and then you're like, no, you're on the completely opposite spectrum, and then you actually hear from their point of view, and you're like, oh, I can actually I might not agree, but I can understand.
Or you can respect their opinion. It's different. Like, for an example, like Usmaan said, most of the time I think subconsciously people think they're going to all think the same thing. So even when we did the Jubilee line and you start realising people's differences in opinion, even though you may not agree, it's not a case where you're like, oh, you don't agree with me, fuck you, and all of that stuff. It's like, okay.
There's so much care and empathy in that space when you has that.
I can understand why you think that. I may not agree with what you think, but that doesn't mean it has to be a problem. Do you know what I mean? So I can agree with what was made.
100%. Jalapeno, no, I don't want any more. Fucking hell.
I wouldn't mind having a bit more.
I think I could eat the whole thing, including the bit that's in the water.
It gave a bit more spice, let's just say that. Compared to the other ones, I'm like, here we are.
It was a little tender.
Should I tell you the name for this one? Please. It's a long one. Radioactive, raging dragon, fire hot, very hot hot.
Radioactive, fire dragon.
Nope, radioactive, raging dragon, fire hot, very hot hot.
Okay.
Let's see about that. Let's see.
I promise I won't drop it in the water, the stuff.
Sweet, shall we?
It's good.
I realise I've been munching all of these samosas.
What?
I should just be taking little dips and...
I think for the last one, let's get hefty with it. Okay.
I'm going to go back and dip in more.
I'm going to see how hefty I can get.
There we go. I'm getting a chili in there as well.
You know what, fuck it.
That tastes really good. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That's really
You got chili in there?
I'm going to try.
I mean, I fucking
I didn't. I'm going to try and get one. I'm going to get a chili.
Okay, there's something. This man used to saying, yeah. He's like, calm. There's something there. There's something there. There is a little level of spice. Your final question for this evening. As your careers progress inside the arts industry, What do you want the theatre scene to look like in 10 years?
What do I want the theatre to look like in 10 years' time?
The variety of our company on the biggest stages, and I think also the fact that we could be brown and black actors, but that's not the reason that we've got the role. We're the lead roles because we have the talent, we have the ability. It's not like, oh, you're that one brown actor, and then you're only talking about like racism in the part, or this, that, and the other, or like it's that actor that was like the side part in that drama. You're just yourself, and you've got that role through you, and we can see visibility, and it doesn't feel like a cheap thing. It doesn't feel like it's done for some positive marketing or to get some bums in seats. I know we're there for our talent and our ability, and seeing the young creators and where they're going to go. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, really exciting, right?
Literally.
What would you say?
Pretty similar to Usmaan, but I also want to say, I want to see more variety within the casting. So kind of like Usmaan was saying, especially with stereotypical roles. For example, me being a black actor, whether it's in TV, stage, whatever, for theatre purposes, we'll stick to theatre. They might look and think, okay, he's probably going to be some gang member, he's going to be just some kind of criminal, something very typical. Why not subvert that? So if there's like a role where a man could be a businessman or a man could be a business owner or something different, I just want to see change, change within the roles. But also, even not just with like race, but also in terms of the sizes of people. I would like to see like more BC. I'd like to see more inclusivity within like roles. Like for example, I would love to see like a performance where someone who's of smaller stature could play like a main role and be showcased on it. I would love to see someone who's like a smaller person to be a main role and shown on stage, or even just have a whole cast of smaller people and have their performances on. Because what I notice in the main places, especially within working in theatre, it's different in terms of the stories they tell, but it's quite typical in terms of the way they cast their characters. So I would like to see more inclusivity in terms of
something that I'd really, really want is for one day our culture can consider the arts as a viable career, not a thing of like, oh, you're going to be the next Dev Patel, you're just going to be an actor and creative, and you can do that and you can succeed. But speaking of Dev Patel, I think someone made a comment after Monkey Man, and it's the film they produced and directed and wrote and starred, and it was like, this has changed the perception in my family of the arts, of what can be done. And it's like, that's what I want for it to be seen. You're not the kind of the black sheep in the family that's gone down the non-traditional path or whatever it might be. It is the complete norm, and there's some sustainability in our job, and we belong in the space.
Yeah, 100%. The sustainability aspect of it, huge. Do you feel like it's happening? Do you feel like to some degree I feel more comfortable and assured in this industry?
Go for it. So I didn't mean to cut you. It's starting to. I think it's starting to. I mean, for me, in terms of acting, I've been doing this properly since I was about 12. So I think now, as I get older, I get further into whether it's through here, other ventures, I think it's starting to happen. But I also know there's a long way to go. So I try to be as realistic as I can in terms of the spaces that I'm in.
Yeah.
But do I think it's happening? Yeah. I'd say so.
I see the people that I'm really inspired by. And when they're doing roles, like I mentioned before, that isn't just about their race. They're the lead because they're the lead, or they're. If you could have a black Hamlet, why couldn't you have a brown Hamlet? Or why couldn't you have a Chinese Hamlet? You could have. There's no reason why you could have an entire history of a production. Why couldn't you start changing who's leading it, changing who's seeing it? So I think the ball is rolling. It could be doing better.
Yeah.
And things like this, when we see people, and I'm hoping people will come and see shows like this and think, yeah, this belongs up there.
Exactly. It's a contribution at the end of the day.
100%.
It's a contribution within working within the different spaces.
Thank you for your reflections, guys. That was brilliant. A lot to take away. I think I'm going to leave this last moment so that you can chat to the marketing team and tell them, have these sauces been anywhere near spicy?
No! No, they haven't!
Yo, fix that.
I cook with Scotch bonnet, bro.
Fix
this.
Did you see the amount I took out?
Something needs to change.
Hoping
Something
for a
needs to change.
reaction.
Yeah.
A practical guide on how to save the world when no one fucking else is.
April 15th to the 19th. Get your
yourself
butts
in there.
here. This seat right here, I want to see you there.
We all want to see you. And if you're not here, I'll see you at your house.
If you're not here, it's racist.